you buy into these contracts. Like my clients had 50 or 100 sessions at this point with Good Life. So I had to take their sessions and sell them on Kijiji for them.
No way.
And I helped all of my clients sell their sessions. That's a true entrepreneur.
Welcome to the 4th episode of the After Foreplay podcast. Today we have a very special guest. So special that in a roundabout way, this podcast would not exist without her. Cassie Day is the founder of All Day Fit, a Toronto-based wellness community centered in strength and empowerment. I had the pleasure of meeting Cassie through one of her Fit Escapes fitness retreats that she runs all over the world. In this episode, we go deep into Cassie's entrepreneurial story, what it takes to build a global brand, and how you can reclaim your creative time. Cassie has not only built an amazing business, but an inspired community. She is also one of my favorite people to run into on the streets of TO. Ladies and gentlemen, Cassie Day. All right, and we're live.
We're rolling.
We're all a little bit out of breath. Just had our pregame.
Why am I the only one not out of breath?
Because you work out every day.
Because you have fit written on your phone case.
You used to work out every day.
We've been working out every day.
Yeah. We're going to get to that.
Yeah. Cool. So, Cassie, how's it going?
Going great.
Good? How was summer?
Summer didn't even happen. It's crazy.
Yeah, we feel the same way.
I actually feel like September didn't even start.
How's your Q4 prep? You ready for the end of the year?
I'm ready for 2020.
You ready for 2020?
I'm like 2019. We're wrapping it up. We're doing 2020 planning now, and I'm excited for a new
2020 is
chapter.
the big
There's
season
a big
for
chapter
fitness.
coming up.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What do you got in the works?
We're moving spaces.
Whoa, you haven't told me this about that.
Kind of told you this.
Okay.
You know parts of it.
Okay.
When's this being released?
Probably over the next few days.
Oh, okay, good.
you
Haven't
not-
told any of my clients about it yet.
Have you not?
We're moving spaces to the East End.
Sweet. East End's the best.
Nice.
Is this the East End?
I mean,
kind
it's
of.
closer. It's more east than it is west.
How far is Parliament from here?
Closer than your old place.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
I don't know. It's probably, I would say, Parliament King.
Yeah. What's our major intersection
Maybe
here?
a 20-minute walk. We're kind of at we're east of Yonge and Harbourfront. But yeah, space. So I feel like we kind of hopped into stuff. Let's unpack a little bit of what you do, what you need space for.
Oh, what I do?
Yeah.
Okay. So I run a business called All Day Fit. It is personal training, nutrition, group fitness, all that fun stuff.
Nice.
It's located here in Toronto. I have myself and a team of 7 others. And yeah, that's All Day Fit.
Cool.
So I look at your business and I see a ton of people's dream business. I feel like there's so many people in the personal training and fitness space that want exactly what you have. And I know so many people that have tried to do it. So I'm interested, though we're friends, we've been talking for a while. I don't know your origin stories and how everything got started and all that. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about it.
How I got started?
Yeah, I feel like everyone on the podcast, we've been kind of diving deep. Like, now what are you doing now? We want to know kind of more about how you got to where you are, because I think everybody's story, it wasn't super linear, right? Like there was a lot of weird turns, and you grew up in Nova Scotia, so I'm sure, I feel like a lot of it has
I grew up in New Brunswick.
I think you grew up in Nova Scotia.
Okay, we'll
Nova
get into
Scotia's
Okay,
in
I
New
mean-
Brunswick. I'm joking. You guys got real serious. You're like, oh shit. You have a separate conversation with Shane.
What?
Yeah, tell us more about what you do, because you have such a cool business where you have such a big community, and it's just such a great organic following that you have. And I feel like that's so rare nowadays, with especially paid traffic. It's just really hard to tell when somebody has a great organic community, and I feel like you have that.
Well, can you teach me how to do paid traffic? Is the real question.
We'll talk.
We can talk after the podcast.
Yeah, tell us how this all got going. Is this the vision that you had from 10 years ago, or how did this come about?
So All Day Fit is about 3 years old. Really 2 years, but 3 years.
Okay.
Before that, let's backtrack way back. So I come from a family of 7. So big family. It's kind of who I am.
Okay.
So
Are you the oldest?
I'm the oldest.
Yeah.
So I see that now in my habits later in life, big time.
Mm-hmm.
And then went off to university. Hockey was my sport growing up forever. So then again, very team oriented. Went through my years at university. Kind of started the gym in first year. Actually, I came home at Christmas time and my brother was like, I'm going to give you some hard truth. You've gained a bit of weight.
What?
And
No.
like, no one in my family is really like honest like that. And he was like, yeah, I've never seen you look like this. Cause I played hockey for like 13 years. So like I went to meal hall. I understood what drinking happened in my life. So then I started the gym then. That was in January. And honestly, it's been 8 years and I haven't stopped the gym for 3, 4, 5, 6 times a week. It's been a consistent habit since then. It kind of was like a really big part in my university life in terms of like mental health and also my physical health, but also like it was something that when you go to school, like it was kind of like our sport because I had stopped hockey at that point. I decided to put my full focus into school. School is not something that came naturally to me, so I had to work really hard at it.
So what'd you take in school?
Business.
Business.
Wow,
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
I thought I would never use it. Look at me
you
now.
Look at you now.
I actually was like never going to use it. Yeah, I couldn't now use
So do you think it's actually helped with your business? That like, let's say like the content in the courses that you took.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I like that.
Cool.
Whereas business students?
I took business courses. Actually, accounting was the one class I dropped out of, and it's probably the biggest hole in our businesses. So maybe I should have taken the class. But I took accounting, and I took like a couple business courses in the last couple of years. But I went for kin, so it wasn't. Yeah,
Oh, wow,
it
we
wasn't
really
like
could
a
have
major
switched
focus.
degrees. Would have helped us out.
yeah, come on.
Now I'm like, wish I had a kin degree, but I hire people who have kin degrees.
There you go.
I mean, yeah, I'm a media production dropout, so I mean, I'm everything but business, to be honest, like in terms of university and stuff.
Yeah.
I felt like you could have been teaching your teachers.
It kind of felt like that when I was there. Like, I wouldn't say teaching them, but I would say like I definitely had a little bit of animosity towards the way they did things. But I think that happens with anything in my life. So, to be honest, I don't know.
Animosity is a common
Like,
theme in your
well,
life.
I don't know, when stuff like I like when stuff's done my way, and so anything outside of that, I have very little patience for.
Yeah.
So
You're
That's a
unemployable.
little bit
yeah, I'm
close-minded.
unemployable.
You should
It's
work
not
on
always a
that.
bad thing sometimes, I
Yeah.
guess. But okay, so what did your siblings have an influence on with in terms of like your character? And I'm assuming like a lot of your leadership capabilities and skill set came from that. Like,
Yeah.
what were your siblings like? Are they as loud as you are? Or?
No, I'm definitely not loud.
So you have like brothers, sisters, all
We're
sisters.
like 4 and 3.
4 and 3.
Yeah.
Okay. All the like similar ages to you, or?
We're all 2 years down,
Mm-hmm.
and then a 10-year gap, and then a baby. Well, he's now 8.
Okay. And what are they all up to? Is similar things like you, or?
No, none of them. My brothers are more into cars,
Okay.
but also business. And my dad's an entrepreneur in the car industry.
Oh, your
so-
dad's an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So they kind of followed his route. They all work with him. Eventually, will take on the business. My sister's in school right now at St. Mary's, where I went. Not taking business, but super interested. She actually works at 2 gyms. So she works at Good Life and the campus gym. So like I didn't think she would like follow my steps, but
Yeah.
there's like she's at my university. She's working at 2 gyms. Who knows?
Yeah.
And then I don't know. The 8-year-old's too young to know.
Okay.
He hates hockey. That's all I know. So
That's all you care about. So did your dad have an influence on you taking business in school, or was that your choice?
pure my choice.
Yeah.
My parents are really young, so kind of. I guess like they were not that they were more my friends, but I guess I feel like a lot of people when they get to like grades 10, 11, and 12, like their parents are trying to like encourage school or post-secondary or like make them go do certain things. My parents never really put like expectations on us in terms of what we wanted to do. It was really just like make your own choice, make the good choices, do what you want to be who you want to be. And I just naturally followed that.
So this is interesting because I've always you hear a lot about entrepreneurs in their early days. Then you have Gary Vee ripping flowers out of people's yards and selling it back to them. And I never felt that way early on in childhood. Like I had a lemonade stand, but I was never like an aggressive salesperson as a really young kid. So was it the same case for you where you felt like the need to be doing business, or was it like kind of more of an interest or something you felt that you would be good at?
Honestly, I don't even think it was that I chased business. I think it was that I chased leadership. And I chased leading other people. So I think honestly that's like where All Day Fit came. I think I was so passionate about leading.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's like a very authentic in terms of like how All Day Fit grew and how it began. Because it wasn't that I was like trying to grow a business. It was that I had like found something that bettered my life and like drastically changed who I was. And I want to like show others that too.
That's
So
huge.
it is huge. And it
Yeah.
just happened.
I feel like that's super on. So me and Shane were on a run last night. We were talking because we knew we were possibly having you on the podcast today. So we were talking through it. And we were both kind of like, we were confused about how you got to the where, because if you were to build a business, you wouldn't usually end up where you've ended up. But I feel like both of us look at what you've built as something that we definitely like look up to in terms of, we're like, how the fuck would we ever go about doing this? So I think you've done something we can't really figure out, and I don't think there's like a pathway for it. So I think that's the biggest thing that we want to unpack in terms of like what you've done, because we don't, like, in terms of building a business that does X amount a year and sells shit or whatever, like I don't think you sell stuff. Like you create experiences, you create emotions, and you create like memorable like things for people. So it's like I think that's what I really want to like dig into more. Like you were saying, it kind of just came naturally, but it was like, did you pull any inspiration from anything? Because like for us as business, like straight business people, it's like, okay, we're pulling inspiration from this business, X business, but I don't think you maybe did that. I think you really pulled it from something a little bit more organic. So if you could like get into more of that, I think that would be really cool.
I don't know the answer. So I guess like for the first 2 years, I didn't like, everyone would be like, who do you look up to? And I don't even know one person. I still don't know people's names. But in terms of like, I didn't know what I was chasing. It was just happening. And then I guess kind of at the 2-year mark is where I realized like, everyone's like, you were like, what's your plan? Where are you going? What are you doing? And I was getting that asked that a lot. And I don't think I knew. And I started to think about it in terms of, what's the one thing I know that I want? The one thing I know that I want is I want to build a global brand. So obviously that's like, if I like dug, I was like, what's the real honest truth here? Got to figure out how to get there now. So then for my last year, which has been my 3rd year, I have been hired a mentor, exploring a lot of gyms in terms of like people, like big name coaches all through the States and stuff. So now kind of seeing like what they're doing and trying to learn from them in terms of where I'm going next. But honestly, up to where All Day Fit is now, it just kind of happened. So did
you go into personal training after university?
Yeah. So I went from university to work at Red Bull Canada. Okay. And that's where I did digital marketing.
Oh, really?
And I was obsessed with digital and obsessed with brand. And Red Bull's like the number one thing that they actually are known for is their brand. And I loved it. So at that point I was kind of like, do I chase a brand career or what do I do? And I quit. I went to backpack Asia for 6 months.
Nice.
Came back from
with no plan of what you were going to do after.
No idea.
Okay.
That wasn't even top of mind. In that mix, my brother passed away. So I was kind of like, fuck this life. Like, let's go explore. At that point, you kind of like realize like life could end at any point. You never know what can happen. Took off to Asia. When I got back, I had like a life crisis. I was like, family's in shambles. I don't know what I want to do with my life. I'm in Halifax. I want to be in Toronto. What's going to get me to Toronto? Try to rent is like psycho. And then my best friend was like, Cassie, you just traveled Asia for 6 months. What's the one thing that's
6 months you were gone?
Wow.
Oh my God.
That's a long time.
It was a long time.
Awesome.
She was like, what's the one thing that was consistent the entire time you were away? And I went to the gym. I consistently went to the gym, even though I was backpacking Asia. Everyone was like hammered, partying all night long. I was still making like, the gym was like just who I was and like part of my everyday. It's like eating to me at this point. So then she was like, you should explore a job in fitness. And that's how it started. The next day I applied at Good Life. The GM at the Good Life was like, sorry, we're not hiring. And I convinced him into hiring me.
Of course you did.
Yeah, that was and then I worked there. And I worked there for like 2.5 to 3 years. And one of my clients who also was in branding, she was like, you need to get out of here. She was like, you're like a walking business. Like, you need to go and do this for yourself. You know what to do. You have the personality to do it. You go make it happen. And it took me like 8 months to like not be a chicken shit, basically. And then this happened in November, and then I actually quit in May. And All Day Fit started 1 minute later.
Okay, so where were you at from hearing that you should be out on your own and then actually making the move of quitting? Had you started talking to clients and talking about training them independently? What's that process look like?
So I guess in November I started. Yeah, this is good for people who want to leave a big corporate gym. Everyone asks me this. In November I started like thinking in terms like company name. I knew that when I left in May, I wanted to have a recognizable brand. So like I didn't want to just like quit and then try to figure it out. So I had a name selected. I had my colors picked. I had like brand fonts. Everything, my brand identity was like established before May even happened. Honestly, I'm almost positive the website was completely done. So then come April, I start telling clients. and letting them know that I'd be leaving. I had 9 clients at the time and 9 clients left.
No
with me.
way. That's awesome.
That's insane.
And I'll say legal, so I don't know if I should be gloating about that on here, but yeah.
We won't show good life.
Just got to tilt the mic up a little bit. There you go. Cool.
So at Good Life, I don't know if you guys know, but you buy into these contracts. Like my clients had 50 or 100 sessions at this
Right.
point with Good Life. So I had to take their sessions and sell them on Kijiji for them.
No way.
And I helped all of my clients sell their sessions. That's a true entrepreneur.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a really
And
good
did they
story.
make money off these?
No,
sessions?
they didn't make money.
But they broke even.
They broke even,
Okay.
so then they could come train with me.
Fuck
Amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cass.
That's
Fucking
fucking
hell,
awesome.
this-
That's such a
fucking
good story.
sick.
Holy fuck. That's
So
yeah.
who did your website and like the branding and all that? Did you do it all yourself?
No, none of it.
I was expecting. I did everything. It all came from my
Definitely
brain.
not. I worked with a girl named Janelle who just left me like a month ago. I'm so sad.
Rip Janelle.
But honestly, like finding someone who aligns with your brand values or like who you are was the hardest part. I interviewed 4 graphic designers before I found Janelle. Janelle's my 5th one. One girl was like, I don't really like the color pink. I was like, well, you're fired. It's like my favorite color. It's the only color I want on the brand at this point. So she was done. The next girl was like, she's like, I envision you like with tribal symbols because of your hair. And I was like, also fired. Like people just like weren't doing it. And then Janelle, like I met Janelle and Janelle was able to like pull myself and make it into a brand. And that was like magic.
Wow.
So how did you know Janelle was going to be the one?
Because she like captured my personality and energy on a piece of paper.
Okay. So she did
And then
some
she
sort of
kept
like
doing
design
it
mock-up
for like
or something
3 years
you.
later. Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
In the transition from Good Life to starting your, and obviously when you're building your own business, you develop processes and all that kind of stuff, and something like a corporate gym has tons of processes. I feel like you didn't inherit all of the processes of Good Life, but like what is one thing you did take from maybe them, if anything? If you didn't take anything, then say nothing. But was there anything you did take from your time at Good Life and applied to All Day Fit?
Oh, I took a lot in terms of, I guess the professionalism, which like people probably don't really see a Good Life until you're in the system, but like it is very systemized.
So it refined you out a little bit.
Definitely, 1,000,000%. People, I hear all the time people like bash Good Life, but it is what shaped me.
It's they have to do things well. They're everywhere.
Right.
you know?
They're doing
Yeah.
something right. So in terms of like the client relationship, I guess, I really learned how to, because you see a lot of trainers now who are, it's called external trainers. They train people all over the city, but it's just not done like a professional manner. Like they'll change their rates. There's no tax included. They'll do it through e-transfer. Like nothing seems very professional. Whereas I saw that in a big business. And when I left, I kept that same standard of professionalism. So I think that was huge.
Okay, that's a really good piece of advice. I definitely know a ton of trainers in Toronto, and I can even, as you're explaining that, seeing that weakness as a client, it would be like, it's a little bit like, oh, maybe I'll go to a regular gym if I wasn't getting a consistent schedule or things like that, or the professionalism. It's interesting. And I feel like it's a super competitive industry, and
It's getting more and more
and
competitive.
you'd think that that'd be an obvious thing. It's like professionalism, charging tax, that kind of thing would be something people would do, but I can see people not doing that at all.
But most trainers like don't come from a business background of any sorts, and most trainers like honestly haven't even worked in a professional career.
Right.
Is that bad to say? And like, yeah, really, like a lot of people come from like whether it be high school or college and then straight into training. I like have no years of experience. Like, to be honest, like I'm working with my coaches right now to teach them how to write proper emails, and like it's a lot of things that you learn, whether it be through an undergrad or through working in an office where you learn things and certain skills. And I feel like a lot of trainers don't get that experience.
So why do you think that your clients all wanted to come with you and not stay at Good Life?
The relationships that I build.
That's a good answer.
Yeah. I think the relationships I build, I still have those clients today. So those 8 clients, 6 of them are still at All Day Fit.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
The client I just trained right before this, I've had her for 5 years.
Wow.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Where did
and now
you-
I'm like, oh, we're moving to the East End. She's far west. And she's like, really? You're going to make me at it for another 30-minute drive? But she's coming.
There you go. So where were you training them all after you left Good Life?
I went straight to Cardio Go, which is the gym that we're All Day Fit's at now.
Oh, okay.
Didn't you used to train out of where you're living now? Didn't you used to train out of your condo?
I lived there, so I trained a few clients when I lived
when
there.
you lived there.
I guess when I first left Good Life, like this is also something I feel like a lot of trainers don't realize. Is like I was traveling around to condos and also at Cardio Go, but it takes so much time. And then I grew and grew and grew, and time was something I need to narrow in on. So if clients wouldn't come to me, I stopped traveling to them.
Okay, so you've broken away from Good Life. You have 9 clients of your own, but I'm assuming at this point you're super busy hiring a lot of clients. Where did it start to transition from you as a solo team to now you with trainers?
You know what's crazy is like when you have 9 clients at Good Life, life is great. Life is so good because you don't have to do anything else. When you become an entrepreneur, you have to do the marketing, the sales, the accounting, the bookkeeping.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, my 8 perfect hours a day turn into like 14, 15 hours a day.
Yeah.
And then that's where because a lot of people like, obviously Good Life takes a large portion of the pay of the hourly rate. Now I understand why. Because at 8 hours, turned into such a large number.
So that's definitely a speed. That's definitely a speed bump to entrepreneurship. It's like, oh wait, no. You need a bookkeeper and this person and this person. You're like, holy shit, there's so many roles here.
All the things.
Yeah. So who were the first hires that you made?
So I went a year on my own, actually turning away a lot of clients because I didn't have a plan. Like this wasn't what I thought I don't even know what I was thinking. I had no intention of like growing multiple trainers. But the one thing about entrepreneurship, and you guys I'm sure know, is it can be lonely. Yeah. So as a trainer at Good Life, like you're surrounded by a team and everything's again very team oriented. Coming from my big family and my hockey background, team was a big thing in my life. And that was the hardest part. That's what took me 8 months to leave Good Life, was because I was so connected to this team. So when I was on my own, I think it wasn't so much that I needed someone else, it was that I wanted someone else. And if I didn't have another trainer by my side at that point, I don't know if I would have continued in the career. I didn't even post about it because Brooke, who's my first trainer, she actually was my client for a year at Good Life. So she saw that I left and been on my own. During the time of training with me, she went and got her personal training designation as well. And then she reached out to me and she was like, I'm in the service industry. I want to get out of it. Like, are you hiring? I'm pretty sure that's how it happened. And then we sat down and we chatted, and that was in May, and she was, I think, hired the next day. But
wow,
insane.
Yeah, it was good.
So where did the expansion come from? Were you doing kind of client acquisition work and trying to bring on more clients, or how did that work?
I don't know.
Like, I blinked and now I have 7 people.
Literally, I was like, when I hired Brooke in May, I was like, Brooke, it's going to be a couple months until you're like busy. Like I like apologize. Right. She was full in 30 days.
Wow.
I don't know.
Yeah.
This was also 3 years ago. Like the industry has grown so much. There was way less trainers 3 years ago. I think I made it look really good that now everyone wants to be a trainer. I don't know. Life is good as a trainer.
Yeah.
But once Brooke was full, like after a month, then we brought Cassie on 3 months after. And then again, that was in October. I interviewed her like 4 times. Brooke, I knew. I have like a trust issue. And Brooke, I knew because I trained her for a year. Cassie was a complete random. So I was like nervous. So I met her once. And then I met her again. And then I met her again. And then I ended up hiring her. Thank God. But again, told her, I was like, it's going to be like a while until you're full. And it was like 30 days.
Wow.
It was... That's
and
what's
it's continued
happened.
With that trend from whenever I talk to you, you're like, oh yeah, need 2 new trainers. I'm turning
it's kind of
people away.
stayed like steady since Carolyn in February, but yeah, It was like that.
Right.
Do you classify? Would you call yourself a salesperson?
No. Well, I guess everyone's a salesperson.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't
everybody
classify
is.
myself as that.
It's so funny because, I think when I met you, or when I kind of knew about you from Misha and Zach a little bit, but then I moved into your building. And then I remember the first time I see you come into the lounge where we're all working with just a parade of blonde hair, just following you in big whiteboards. And I'm like, what's going on here? And you just like crowded up the lounge. You got this whole team with you, and there's just energy. There's just vibrance and energy. And I feel like you do have that radiating from you. You have this like good vibe feeling coming off of you. And it's very contagious among the people around you. So I look at it and I see like an awesome, awesome salesperson. Like people just want to be a part of what you have, whatever you're selling. They just want that. They want that energy and everything. It's so prevalent through your character and through the people around you. It's great. And even like the events that you're having when you had that big dinner on the rooftop and everything, and wanting to be a leader of people, like can see that crystallizing around you. It's pretty inspirational, and especially for people working from home. I feel like that's a huge thing. And you, as you know, when you were running Vanquish Media by yourself, and me when I was starting an ecom by yourself, a lot of the time you're sitting by a laptop on your own day in, day out. Like, it's definitely a problem for our generation when we're starting to work from laptops and work from home. There's just not as much community. So it's really cool to see you bring that about in your own way. You know, you took the lessons from Good Life, the refinement and all that, made it professional, but your own environment. And it's fucking awesome.
I guess that's the biggest thing missing a Good Life is any type of environment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like miserable in there.
Right. Yeah.
There's like carpets and cranky people.
They're all sick of the red shirts at this point.
Oh, I didn't wear red for 2 years after that. It was like Trump.
It's just not a flattering color, as I'm wearing it right now. No one likes red. That's so funny. Well, yeah, we have to commend you on that because, like I said, it's just inspirational, and we love it.
I think energy is a big part. I think that's what, like you just said, people are attracted to things that they want to feel.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, so, yeah, I say I'm not a salesperson, but I do like pride myself on my good energy because I think good energy attracts good energy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the entire All Day Fit brand's built on. I always say, like, I hire based off energy. Mm-hmm. So where most people out there seeking the best coach in Toronto, I'm actually seeking the best energy in Toronto. I can teach the skills that these girls need to know in terms of executing personal training. I can't teach good vibes.
Mm. So you're not just doing one-on-one training, right? You're doing, is it more class-based or is it more the one-on-one?
We just launched a brand new program 1 year ago that now is the core of All Day Fit. But prior to that, it's always been predominantly personal training, with the exception of like my 3 classes I have. So when I worked at Good Life, I had 3 classes. When I left, I mocked those same 3 class times wherever I could find a location in the city at this point. Mm. So I've always had those same people from Good Life still to this day, those same times, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
So what are the classes?
What is the focus? What is the time?
Yeah. Like what are the classes like? What are the 3 classes? I was going to say the subject. I don't think that's a good word for it. Are they fitness classes? Are they yoga classes? Are they?
They're fitness, strength based.
Archery.
So everything in All Day Fit is functional strength training.
Okay. Nice.
And I guess it's standard. The experience that you would get in a personal training session based off what our programming looks like, what the structure of a session looks like, I really just replicate a PT session and bring it into a group session. Mm-hmm. So you're still getting that focus on form, focus on the proper mobility activation, all of that. It's honestly, like, especially in, well, I shouldn't say, I'm sure everywhere, but there's so many gyms in the city where the point of the workout is just to like go ham and go crazy, burn calories, sweat, all that stuff. And I think All Day Fit kind of takes a very different approach around that. It's less about all of those things and more about like functioning and making your body move well for the next 80 years.
Yeah. Which is huge. Again, going back to people sitting at their desks all day. Mm-hmm. They need Absolutely. That.
So like, for an example, like look at the way we're sitting right now. What's happening to our bodies?
They're vibrating with pulsing energy from your All Day Fit.
That's not what I was going for.
Oh, okay.
Like our shoulders are rounded, so we're getting really tight in our pecs. Mm-hmm. It's like what most people should be doing is rowing and pulling them back. But when you go to a group fitness class, what do you see most of? Pushing, push-ups, all of the things that we need to counteract from sitting all day. We're sitting right now with our hips.
Posturing up right now.
Right, yeah.
I don't know what you mean. Tight. I'm not rounded.
People are sitting all day. Their hips are tight. When your hips are tight, your glutes aren't activated. Mm-hmm. What do most people do when they go to gyms? Not help that at all.
It's so true.
So it's really thinking about our clients in a way of what are they doing all day long? How can we counteract that and program based off that? That's where All Day Fit's very special.
We had an interview probably two episodes ago where someone said, with your first business, do something easy because it's probably not going to be your last business. It's probably going to fail, kind of thing. But it was All Day Fit your first business, and it's been successful. So I think when you were saying that you had planned like so much beforehand before leaving, and you'd done all the stuff, the branding and all that kind of stuff, would you recommend that for everybody to plan? Are you a planner? Like, you did that at inception and it's worked out for you, but in terms of running your business day to day, do you overplan things or like over execute or?
I don't plan anything. We're like the opposite person. Zach's like organized. I'm like fucking chaos.
I'm really not organized.
Really? Zach's like 15 minutes early. I'm like an hour and a half late. Oh.
You're a shoot by the hip kind of person.
Right, so
Kinda.
for example, like when you launched Academy, like what did that process? Like you said, like obviously it's transformed your business completely, right, from what it was before. So like when you had the idea for Academy, like how did you go upon like executing it and stuff?
Yeah, Academy's been crazy. So Academy is basically, I took the concept of personal training and made it in a smaller group setting. So there's 3 coaches, each with 6 girls, getting a very educational approach to training, but also bringing in strength and then bringing in also the team components. Like there's small little challenges for the team, and then the team is the group, the room as a group, like also does a lot of team stuff. But it's doubled the All Day Fit business. It's been crazy, but it's also added like, it's doubled the amount of people. It's doubled our revenue. It's doubled everything about it, but like in the best way. I guess personal training, the experience that you're getting, it's only one-on-one. Anyway, it's like been crazy in terms of Academy, but the process of starting it, I just was like swinging in my hammock one day, and I was like, what do I love? I love fitness and I love team. Let's make them like one unit. And that's like one thing missing in terms of all of the classes in the city. It's not personalized. So how can we make a team atmosphere personalized? Came Strong Academy. We ran I built a program. It's actually very, very different now in terms of like how it's grown over the full year. We just hit 1 year this month. But we're like very lenient in terms of trying to figure out what worked best. You could be 2 days a week or it could be 3 days a week. It was up to you. I don't even know what else was different. But it's just kind of evolved every round. We sit down afterwards and we work on it for 2 weeks, trying to figure out what worked, what didn't. What do we want to do more of next time? What do you want less of? I'm also a big person in terms of asking my clients what they want and asking for reviews, asking for feedback, and then building based off that.
Cool.
That's like a really smart thing, actually.
Yeah.
I'm a huge person.
What I
of
get from
feedback.
that is like you just execute really, really fastly and then kind of like catch up, right? And like evolve with it. And I feel like that's great advice for starting anything.
Someone yesterday gave me advice. She was like, whenever you come up with an idea, just make it. I'm like, my brain doesn't think like that. I don't like think of an idea and then create it. I find out what needs to be created and then create it. That's just the way I've worked. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Interesting.
She like has all these
ideas. The difference between like a delusional entrepreneur and a good entrepreneur. Not saying that your friend is delusional, but I think a lot of people like come up with random products or like random problems to solve. Like
we had that recently.
I knew you were gonna think about this. Okay, so we're in like the grocery store downstairs, and there's these little packets of banana. That's like it's a whole banana in like a little cracker-sized package. And then it's like the banana that's smaller on the go, so you can hold it. And we're like,
it's like a little square, and it's like one square goes one banana. It's like, what bananas are weighing people down? Like what's the ad for this? Like, is your bag of bananas weighing you down? Like, we don't understand it. So it's like, how many businesses are out there that are just solving problems that people don't have?
That's not a problem.
Yeah, exactly. It's like bananas are great. You don't need to change them.
we're just picturing an ad of a guy with a big bag of bananas. Like,
right. I think that's
you're an idea person.
I'm an idea person, but I think what happens is like it comes from like my personal life, right? Like and I'm pretty anal. Like I like things the way I like them, right? So it's like when something's off, I'm like, well, why isn't it not like the way that like it just eats at me. So I wouldn't say I just come up with ideas. It's more just like I come up like with problems that probably I would say most of my problems that other people don't have.
You're
right?
observant of the problems that you're having. You know,
Right.
most people I don't think are observant. They just complain about the problems that they're
Oh,
having.
yeah, for sure.
Right? And you're like, why is this a problem?
How
can it be
fix
fixed?
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Most people just don't realize that there's a solution.
Yeah.
It's a skill. That's a skill. It's $1 million skill.
Okay, I want Cassie's opinion on our fitness challenge.
Oh, she's gonna hate this fitness challenge.
I already hate it.
Yeah.
Okay. We didn't tell you everything about it.
No.
But let's tell you and then let's let you dissect it. It was just coincidental. It was coincidental that you came on this podcast, and it was also the podcast we planned on like talking about our Sober October Fitness Challenge. So it's meant to be.
They're having a kegger tomorrow.
It started with Sober October as an idea, and it transitioned into, okay, for the next 90 days until the end of the year, this is what we're doing. Like, it's not a Sober October challenge anymore. Now it's like a 2019 cap challenge.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, tell everyone like what it is.
I think it started from, I mean, obviously we were listening to Joe Rogan's podcast. He's doing a sober October. Like, let's do a sober October. And last year they did a crazy, massive fitness challenge stuff. Where, like, we want to do something like that. Like, I love challenges. Like, I'm not someone that's very consistent with working out, but it's like, you give me a challenge, it's like I'll fucking show up. And so, like, I think we just started unpacking this idea like really late at night, and we're like, well, I looked at my Strava and I had ran 400 kilometers this year. I'm like, well, it should be 1,000. Like, that's a nice round number. So we're like, okay, we need to run 600 kilometers before the end of the year. So we need to more than double in 3 months. And then we're like, well, if we keep running, we need to have some sort of strength component every day, right? And then that kind of unpacked, okay, well, let's do like 110 push-ups. That works out to like 10,000 push-ups until the end of the year. And then it was like, it turned out to be running, push-ups, swimming, pull-ups.
So it's 600 kilometers running. 12,000 push-ups is what we wrote down, which was 110 a day. And then 2,000 pull-ups, which was 25 pull-ups a day. And then the swimming portion, we looked. So my parents live in Stony Creek, which is kind of like across from Toronto. And we're like, how far is that? Well, how long would it take to swim there? So it's 50 kilometers. So we're going to swim 50 kilometers.
Well, like not in one round. Like
not in one round. We're not going to
like
actually swim to Stony Creek.
That'd be pretty badass if you did.
Yeah.
Then I'd probably be super into this challenge.
Then
what if What if I challenge you to do that?
Is it?
Can you take a year? Probably. It would probably take a year for us to figure that out.
A year?
I think so.
No.
Next summer, Zach's on a boat, so you might as well do it next summer.
How long would it take?
I thought that was supposed to be this summer. Next summer, we got the perfect spot. We can dock it right there.
Is there a dock right there?
No, there's not. There should be though. But anyway, so that's what we're doing. And obviously, I feel like you wouldn't recommend anybody do the.
Okay, wait. My number one question is that is that all that you're doing though?
No, we're working out every day too, like in the gym.
Yeah.
Hopefully. But like, this is kind of the thing where it's like we're coming into Q4 where it's gonna be like the busiest time, and like working out can always slip away from us, right? Like we don't. Like, and that's not an excuse, but it just happens, right? So we kind of wanted something that was prescription every day, where it's just like, no matter what, you can do this. Like, you can get out, you can run for 30 minutes, which is 6.6 kilometers. You can get on a pull-up bar, you can do 25 pull-ups, and you can do 110 push-ups. Like, you can do that every day.
Right.
And like, we have a big trip coming up, you can do that anywhere. So I think the biggest thing for us was just like,
it'd be amazing running when you're traveling.
yeah, it's gonna be great. Like, I love running when I'm traveling. So I think the biggest thing for us was like creating a prescription to make sure that like every day you wake up and you know what you're doing. You don't think about, what am I going to do at the gym? Like, we don't have the bandwidth to be doing that right now, We don't have, like, the mental energy. So it's just, like, so simple. Like, hang on a bar and pull yourself up. Go on the ground, push yourself up. Like,
Okay, when you explain it, I can get super down for this challenge because I have a coach who does my programming. And for the last 2 weeks, he's been crazy and hasn't got my program to me. And I basically didn't work out. It's waking up and also having to like think about it when you have so much other shit as an entrepreneur to figure out. That's the last thing you want to think about. So I can 100% relate to that. I messaged him 2 days ago. I was like, enough is enough. I need my program tomorrow. I need structure. I need a plan. I need it.
Right.
And I was not doing it myself.
So do you always have programs written by other people?
Always.
Always. Okay, that's interesting.
Always.
Cool.
I've had a coach program being for me for the last 5 years.
I like that.
Yeah. One, I learned, but also like I have someone else who's holding me accountable to my goals too and checks in with me.
Yeah.
I think it's a really important thing for personal trainers to have. And I recommend all trainers.
Right. You're living your message. You're giving personal training and you're getting it yourself as well.
For sure.
Okay. And then we're also for Sober October doing, so no alcohol, no coffee, no Red Bulls. Because Zach was having 2 coffees and a Red Bull a day, and I was becoming concerned.
It was.
That's how this started?
It was not intentional. Like, it was just like I would wake up, I'd make coffee, and like sometimes he'd have a cup. But if he brought a coffee to the office, then like I'd have the other cup of coffee. Yeah. And then like after lunch, I'd be like, "Fuck, a Red Bull would be nice," and I always crack a Red Bull. Like I don't know. It just became like a thing where it's like I fell into it. And always, like I've got a lot of stuff to do. Like it became like a bad habit. I didn't think, like, it wasn't like I would wake up and like I need a coffee. Like I could go until noon without a coffee, but it's like I never went like a whole day without like caffeine. And so the first 2 days were like not good. Like it wasn't yesterday, it was the day before yesterday. Like I was not feeling good. I had like headaches and stuff, and like that's where it set in. I'm like, you need to fix this. Like, like totally fix this. So yeah, we're doing no caffeine, no alcohol except for tomorrow. Just logistically didn't work out.
Yeah, just a casual kegger through in the middle of Sober October.
We had things planned out and annual events and things. We're like, we have to do it for this. So we created a punishment, which is if we break any of the rules, then the next day has to be 24 hours of no phone.
No consumption was the idea.
No consumption.
Like you don't like no watching videos, no texting. Like it's just creation the next day. Like you only have to be outputting. Because I feel like when
you're just like you're the least creative hungover. You have brain fog. Like you can't even think. How are you going to create?
Like whenever I'm like hungover, like it gives me such a reason to like lay in bed and flip through my phone. You know, so it's like I just want to eliminate it and be like, even if you create something that's bad, at least like start flowing.
The only real punishment to you guys would be to not be allowed to work the next day. That's the only way you could punish me.
Then there's nothing. What are you gonna do?
Got no phone. Can't work.
That's the only real punishment for any entrepreneur.
It's like a Monday. All our friends are working. What are you guys doing today?
Is that what the day of the week it is?
No, I'm just saying as like a hypothetical example.
That's like the only real punishment you can give an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Is not to work.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say we enjoy working.
What?
I mean, we
love
do,
working.
but
I like getting shit done.
we like getting shit done.
I like having done
if
stuff.
you told me I couldn't work for a whole day, I would freak out.
Yeah.
Have you ever burnt out?
No, I know when I'm getting close, and I know when to take a break.
And so, what do your breaks look like?
Vacations.
Okay.
I'm going to Bali in 3 weeks.
I'm so jealous. We've been like literally like, every time we like see someone in Bali, like, whoa, we could go to Fit Escapes.
You also could like work remotely anywhere.
Yeah, we got a lot of.
Why
stuff
are you in
coming up.
freezing cold Toronto?
It's not as simple as just because you work from a computer powered by a battery, you can work anywhere. You know what I mean? Because it's not just about like being mobile. It's also about the environment that you're in. Like you need a good productive space. It's not going to distract you.
Yeah,
and
of
that you
course.
get into a flow state easily.
That being
right?
said, I think it's like working remotely is becoming such a big thing now that I think these spaces are around the world.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
for
think
sure,
I'll for
yeah.
sure find one in Bali. And like I'm staying for a week-long retreat, and then the week after I'm staying to vacation, but I definitely plan to work at that time. So I'm going to go looking for some entrepreneurship centers.
I think
So
there's some
find them.
good ones.
Yeah,
And-
for sure there
in
is.
Bali.
in Bali, yeah.
For sure there is.
Where is the retreat in Bali?
It's it's an hour from Ubud in a small little town.
Okay.
It's like nothing else
So
is
the
really
middle of the
around.
jungle.
Yeah, the middle of nowhere.
Sweet.
Actually,
That's
no, it's on the shore. It's on the water.
That's gonna be sick.
That's unreal.
Have you been before?
Yeah.
Oh,
During
you
that
have?
6-month trip to Asia, I spent a month in Indonesia.
Nice.
That's awesome.
So where else did you go in Asia?
I did Cambodia,
Nice.
Vietnam,
Mm-hmm.
Thailand twice, and Indonesia.
If you had to live one of those places,
Oh.
where would it be?
Thailand.
Thailand. Cool.
Really? Over
Yeah.
Bali?
Yeah, Bali's, they're both the same. There's like so many Australians. But like, I feel like there like are still like hidden gems in Thailand where I don't really know if there are those in Indonesia. I think it's so taken over by travelers. At least that's what I've seen.
There's 17,000. It might be wrong with this, but I've heard there's 17,000. We looked it up. No, I'm going to say this 100% true. There's 17,000 islands in Indonesia. How
Yeah.
insane is that? So I feel like there's a lot of unexplored
For sure.
places. But if you go like central Bali, it's like everyone. It's a bunch of Australians on scooters and
Right,
should-
but
that
in
should
those
be
like
our fitness-
17,000 islands, I don't think you're going to find somewhere to work.
yeah, that's also true.
Ooh, almost
Whoa,
broke
what
your
happened?
microphone. Cool.
Oh.
I kicked it.
Okay, so next year fitness challenge, we're gonna swim between all 17,000.
So, is it still
I'm just
on?
making sure we're still recording.
One of my girlfriends just traveled to the Philippines, and it's the same. It's like thousands of islands.
Yeah.
So she left 6 weeks to do it just for one country because of all the time it takes to travel to each island.
We're going to Philippines, but we're not going to be seeing any islands. We're gonna
This
be
just
in
came up
city.
like yesterday.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're taking a trip to China. We're gonna check out our manufacturing facilities, go to the Canton Fair, and then we're gonna head over to the Philippines to Cebu.
Cebu City.
Cebu
City?
Cebu
Is that
City.
the
Yeah.
Yeah.
capital?
No. The capital is Manila.
Yeah.
I knew
Crazy
that.
busy. Cebu is like another city, but there's
It
it looks a little bit more tame, but it's still a city. Like it's not going to be
Yeah.
a vacation. It's going to be like straight work trip. We have 1 day or 1 or 2 days we're going to plan to swim with whale sharks, which would be really fucking cool.
That's actually my dream. Where are you
can
doing
come.
that?
When are you in
Where
Bali?
are you doing that?
We're going to be doing.
It's like my life
in
dream
in
is
the
to
Philippines.
dive with whale sharks.
Yeah.
I just got a underwater housing for my camera to like a legit underwater surf
Wait,
housing.
what season is the whale sharks where you're going right now? And are you sure they're going to be there? There are certain seasons.
I mean, if I bet $1 million that there's gonna be whale sharks, I wouldn't be confident in it.
I'm like, I would change my flight.
But
Honduras happens every October. So like that's on my like life to do
We can
list.
look at it. It seemed when we Googled it, it seemed like there were just like there's a little spot where it's almost like they're just always there. And there's a bunch
Okay.
of like what was it like a sardine like thing?
Yeah, there's this sardine pooling kind of thing happening
There's like
on in the
hundreds of
Philippines all
thousands
year
sardines.
round. Yeah. So
Yeah.
maybe the whale sharks are there all year with them.
I don't know.
We need to Google this afterwards. I bet you it's the wrong time. One of my best friends, she was diving, and there's a picture of her, this like little tiny human, this massive whale shark behind her, and she didn't see the whale shark.
Whoa.
She missed it.
No.
She got the photo afterwards from the photographer, and she's like, the whale shark was like gone by the time she turned around and missed the whole thing.
What?
How does it even happen? Yeah,
That's
That's
crazy.
insane.
it blew up in her condo. It's crazy.
Let's circle back to Fit Escapes. Let's put it like,
Okay.
well, speaking of Fit Escapes, nobody in this room right now would be sitting in this room together if it wasn't for Fit Escapes, including Misha that's over there. None of us would know each other if it wasn't for Fit Escapes. I wouldn't know you if it
Do we
wasn't.
only know each other through Fit Escapes?
Yeah, because I filmed the first Camp Fit Escapes because Laura messaged me. Yeah,
That's the best thing to come out of this business.
yeah,
Crazy.
yeah.
Laura Davidson put us together for Fit Escapes.
Yeah, and I cold messaged Laura just because like I had just finished like a big UI design contract, and I was looking for other apps in Toronto to design, and I just sent her a cold email randomly, because I just literally Googled like apps founded in Toronto and like found them all, found the founders and emailed them all, and then something randomly. Obviously, you were like, I needed a videographer, and then she would have probably looked at my work before when I had cold emailed her like.
She told me that you were her good friend.
Really? I didn't. I had
Classic.
never met her until that time.
That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
and then Fit Escapes, Tulum, and yeah. No,
Was
everyone's
that your
sitting in the same
second
room.
one? You went right from camp? Was that camp?
Yeah, it was camp, and then Tulum.
Holy. And then Misha came in because East Coast fam. And then
At Fit Escapes.
you. Crazy. And now it's
Crazy.
just like
How insane is that?
flying forward.
Yeah,
You're like our godmother or something.
yeah.
Oh,
it's
it's so
it's an insane story when you
cool.
break it down, because and also I wasn't even supposed to be in Tulum.
Oh, yeah. I called Zach the day before.
You
Do
called
you
me
know
the
the
day
story?
before.
Tell me a
Yeah.
little bit
I was
about
in the
it.
sauna. You called me, and I had like
I was
three
in the
texts.
sauna. You remember where you were?
I was. I
You
remember
bring your
exactly
phone in
where
the
I was, and
sauna?
Cassie called me. Yeah, I was in the sauna. Like my I came out of the sauna, looked at my phone, and I like three calls.
Crucial distinction. People are going to be
from-
bringing their phones in the sauna.
for
There's going to be
Cassie.
lawsuits.
And she's like, you have to come. And I was like, oh, and I was kind of like getting a little burnt out. I'm like, fuck, it'd be really nice. And then I was on a plane like the next day or like the day after.
2
that.
days later.
Yeah.
Someone canceled. So basically we already talked about this, but Fit Escapes, like running retreats isn't a very profitable business. It's a very hard business to run. So we were like, where can we make a cut? And the cut was like, we can't afford to bring a photographer. We just decided we're going to hire there for a couple hours from the resort. And then someone canceled. And we're like, this trip's paid for. Like, we need to bring Zach. And we called him right away.
Yeah.
And I was like, you didn't even think about it.
I thought about it for like a good 30 seconds.
You're like, okay.
Which is a long time.
I
for
thought
you.
about it for 30 seconds. It is a long time.
Really thought about that one. You almost didn't go.
When I came back, no one even believed me. And then you were just like there 2 days later.
Yeah, that was a really good trip.
So how come the retreat business isn't profitable? Is it that the places you're doing the retreats in are like, you want to have really good marketable places and those places are really expensive?
So a couple things like that. The locations that we're going, they also are trying to make a profit. So their numbers that they charge us are very high. I think they also see like a lot of retreat companies like charge like $3,000-$4,000. So I think they're under the impression that we're also going to do the same. So they want to make money as well. So that second is a lot of companies of retreats are just like people who have a small business. Now they're going to take a retreat out of it. Whereas I have a business partner and now there's 3 of us actually. So we now have to pay for 3 people to be in a retreat plus flights to get there, plus everything else that goes in terms of like traveling. Mm-hmm. And then the third thing is both Karina and our like both separate clientele. We just want to make it something that was like reasonable that the people that we love and the people that we normally attract can afford. Mm-hmm. So like a $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 trip isn't very realistic place. Like, do you think, I don't think Misha would have been on a trip. It was $5,000. Mm-hmm. So we like try to, instead of making it this like huge profitable company, it's more like a passion project.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a hard business.
And how many of them do you do a year?
So we started off doing 2 and this year we're actually going to have 3.
You're going to have 3 this year?
Yeah. Bali will be our 3rd.
Wow.
And then next year we're already looking at 3. I was like, let's slow down. And now we have 3. They're so fun. And it's
Yeah,
like
they are a
every
lot
time
of
I
fun.
say I'm going to like step back because I need to like give All Day Fit all my love. We have a trip and it's so magical in every one of them that I'm like, okay, here we go again.
Yeah.
The people that come on a
There we
retreat,
go.
like they're also like special humans, you know, like the people who invest that amount of money in themselves, they want to be better and they're working on that. So it's always really great energy.
I feel like the biggest thing too is it just, as like an adult, you never get put in those situations where it feels like summer camp or like just you're kind of like, you know, it's a bunch of people doing the same thing and like you have no care in the world. Like there's a bunch of you're meeting people organically and stuff. Like it's a different feeling that you don't get. You can't really get it any other way than doing like a retreat or something like that. So it's a really special feeling and you get to like connect with people like so deeply, so quickly. And that's such a really cool thing to feel, right? Where you just go like really deep with someone, you know? Like
Kind of what I do in all my businesses. Like I do that. What you just explained is like how I feel like Strong Academy is. That feeling like you don't really get it in real life. You don't get that connection to anyone. You don't build that relationships. You spend 14 weeks together 3 times a week. Like think about the relationships you build inside that room.
Yeah.
So like that's like what I do in terms of experiences, like what I love to do. Create that environment and that culture for people to make those relationships, because I think ultimately if you're thinking about health in the long run, it comes down to the people that you spend your time with. You can work out as much as you want, you can eat all the right foods, but if the relationships in your life aren't great, I think you won't really have health for the long run.
A lot of truth in that.
Yeah.
So is Fit Escapes your second business?
Second business.
Also successful and still running.
Yeah.
You're just beating the odds. Where's your horseshoe?
What's the third?
What's
the
your-
third business.
That's the big question.
Yeah, I know.
That's the after. That's when the
My-
mics get turned off. We start talking about the third
My
business.
brain's
right.
been going. Third business is coming soon.
Okay, so what is the big takeaway or one piece of advice, if you could only give one, to somebody who's 5 years behind you that wants to follow a similar path?
That wants, in terms of All Day Fit?
They want to have some sort of,
Everyone
let's
who asks
say
in
like
terms
a
of
health and
retreats, I
wellness
say don't do
business.
it.
Well,
Like
retreat
this.
seems like the dream business, right? Vacation and then just rake in
Everyone
cash.
comes to me for advice on retreats. I'm like, my advice, don't do it.
Yeah.
It's great, but just go on vacation. It's way better. My advice for someone who's 5 years behind me and wants to do what I'm doing, I guess to know your why, to know why you want to do it. And I think like authenticity is like the key. So if you know your why, like you can just like live who you are and what you're trying to get out there. And if you're living that, others will follow. So it's
Spoken
not really
like-
like savvy, like something someone can go do, but I think that's like what All Day Fit was built off and why it's successful. It
Great
was like,
thing to have in your head when you're thinking about starting a business.
Is a why.
that's your why.
Yeah.
It's
Know your
hard.
why.
Like you can't just like go and find that. You know, like you got to dig for
You have
that.
to dig.
You, gotta, like, go
You have to
through
be
some shit.
right. You have to go through the
Yeah.
shit. You have to know why you want to, what you want out of this, and to
So-
be like real and true about that.
In growing All Day Fit and Fit Escapes and all that kind of stuff, there's like ups and downs like with that in any business. What was like, was there any like specific story where you draw from it every day, like in terms of like a down, or like that you think would be a good story to share with other people in terms of like something that you learned along the way? Like was there any like really bad fuck ups where you're like, I can't believe I did that, or like that you kind of like dug yourself out of? Any specific kind of like, I think everyone's got that. You might not be able to remember it.
Yeah, I know it's hard. It's like I'm like the type of person who like sees a failure and gets excited because I can learn from it.
Right.
So it's hard for me to think of something that was shit. We just like All Day Fit just had the worst month it's ever had in 3 years in July. So like I guess there was a lot of learning lessons and takeaways from that month. We lost like $17,000, which is a huge hit when you're a small business. So of that, a million things came out of it. But basically like what I learned as an entrepreneur, what's grew All Day Fit like to this point is my creative brain. So what happened in July when I backtracked and tried to dive and dissect and figure out what the heck happened, it's I filled my schedule way too full and I didn't schedule time for my brain to be creative. And that creativity is what has been the future of the company. And I just like let it get taken over by everything else.
Interesting.
So now I kind of sat down with my team, explained to them the importance of that time where my brain needs to do what my brain does to do the marketing and the sales. I guess that is like where the marketing, the sales, and even like the vision of the company comes from and continues to move from. So that's the biggest learning lesson is just like if you are the entrepreneur and if you are the one trying to do it, to like not make your schedule jam packed, because you will need time to create.
That's a really good piece of advice. Honestly, as you were saying that, I was like, holy shit, my schedule is so full and I don't have any time to think and like have those big ideas that, you know, pivot the company and, you know, create an awesome
And they're only going to
trajectory
come
for
if
it.
you give yourself the space.
Yeah. So how did you quantify the space for yourself? Is it like one day a week, I'm not going to do something, you know,
It's 2
any
hours a
business,
day.
or 2 hours a day?
2 hours every afternoon.
Okay.
Where
The
it's like-
same 2 hours every afternoon?
It fluctuates a bit in terms of like when my clients are that day, but it's pretty much like sometime within the window of 12 to 4.
And what are you doing? Are you just
Sitting.
Just sitting?
Literally trying not to do like my like admin and like little like tedious tasks that you have to do as an entrepreneur, and just like possibly could be like listening to a podcast, but really like walking or cooking. And I feel like showering. Yesterday I showered for a whole hour. Probably a really bad thing to tell because the environment. But I showered for an hour and I got like 3 awesome ideas out of it. So it's just literally trying not to occupy my brain with something else.
So there's no rules. It's kind of just like
The rule is don't do anything.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So I always say I do my best work in an airplane. Think about an airplane.
Yeah,
You're
I
just
relate to
stuck
that.
sitting in one spot with no internet.
Yeah.
You can get so much shit done.
Yeah.
So ask me how excited I am for 28 hours of travel to
Oh
Bali.
my God, yeah.
Where are you laying over?
Hong Kong. I actually have no idea.
Okay.
I think it might be Hong Kong because Babs is freaking out, but
Okay.
She's freaking out about Hong Kong?
yeah, she's really freaking out.
Yeah, it's kind of justified.
But
at this
almost
point.
every flight goes through Hong Kong, so I don't know
like
if we end up getting
yesterday
around
Zach
it.
and I were telling Megan, who's coming with us to China. She's like, "We're not going through Hong Kong, right?" And we're like, "No, but it's fine there now. It's settling down." And then we're googling it and seeing it. It's like, okay, but it's not through the airport. And then we read down the article. It's like, okay, it's through the airport.
Yeah, they're literally
read this
protesting in the
yesterday?
airport.
They're protesting in the
Like, I
airport.
don't know if this
yeah.
was yesterday was happening, but like we read the article yesterday.
Yeah.
Be on our toes when we're there.
One little, I tell this to everybody that says they're going to Bali or think they're going to Bali, when you're booking your flight, I recommend connecting through Ichiban Airport in Korea, South Korea. It was the best airport I have ever been
Okay, wait,
to.
I need to actually see where I'm flying through because imagine that's where I'm flying
Oh my
through.
God, I'm telling you, like I had
Wait,
a
help me to look it up,
horrible,
Bali.
like on the way back, I was sick coming back from Bali and all that kind of stuff. And they had like public showers, all that kind of stuff. And it was just like a really good airport. They had little lounge pods where you go take a nap and it felt like clean. Like it wasn't gross like an airport. Like it was just a beautiful airport with tons of like amenities that you could just use. Yeah, if you're going to Bali and you can connect through Ichiban in South Korea, do it.
I just like the name Ichiban.
Ichiban.
I'm going to Ichiban. Ichiban.
Yeah, the only thing going in Ichiban was that I got tattooed in Ubud on my last day in Bali. And
You got what?
I got tattooed on my last day in Bali. Like my
Show
arm
me your tattoo.
This one, you know, which one? Yeah. So I got that done in Bali my last day, and I had went straight from the tattoo place to the rice fields because I had hired a driver for the last day because I was working for that retreat company, and then I tried to pack so much on my last day. So I got tattooed. My driver then took me to the rice fields. Have my arm wrapped up in the rice fields. There's like blowing dust and like I'm sweating, so like the thing's peeling off, and I got like this new tattoo getting dusted. I'm like fuck, and I'm not, and like my whole plan is like go to, and then I got dropped up at the airport 5 hours before my flight. This is all part of the plan. But then I'm stuck in the airport in Bali. And there's like the Bali airport isn't that great, so I'm like washing this tattoo in a sink, and then so I finally get to Korea. I'm like, oh, yeah, this place will be so good. I'll be able to get like nice because I didn't got lotion for it or anything. So I get there, and I take a nice shower in these like great amenities, and I go to try to find lotion. You're supposed to like moisturize it, but it's supposed to be like unscented, whatever. I like Google something, I get it, I translate it, the Korean one. I start putting it on. I'm like, I get like this weird gut feeling. And I Google it again, and I start like going further down in articles, and people say to use this on tattoos, do not, all this kind of stuff. And it was tinted like more, like it was like it would make your skin lighter, if that makes sense, because like people in Korea want their skin to be lighter. And so I'm going back to the showers and I'm washing this cream off because I almost like faded my brand new 12-hour tattoo.
Did it do anything to it?
No, like I had gotten it off. Like, it was literally like probably 10 seconds. But then anyway, so the only thing about Ichiban Airport is that it's hard to find unscented.
That's your piece of
I will
feedback.
not be getting
But-
any tattoos
don't-
in Bali.
Yeah. That was a long-winded story, but yeah. But Ichiban Airport's great.
I'm not going there. Just confirmed.
Big shout out. Cool.
Cool.
All
You
right.
got a tattoo in your last day of Bali. I got bed bugs.
You got bed bugs? Oh, like you
Worse.
got bed bugs
Yeah.
or you saw bed bugs?
No,
there?
I got them.
You got them.
Like all through Asia in 6 months, I stayed in like $2 hostels. Like
Right.
So cheap.
Yeah.
The last night, I'm like, I'm going to splurge. It's like $40 US. That's a big deal in Asia. And I got bed bugs in
At that hotel.
At that one.
Wow.
And they went home
sucks.
with bed bugs, which is also really disturbing when you think I was like flying and stuff. It
You
was a
bring it-
nightmare.
You brought it home.
No, it's like take your bag to these like places. It's like normal over there. It's like they have to like heat everything like crazy.
So
I came
you
home
knew
without
like
them.
the next morning.
You know immediately because you're covered in these like trail of bites up your body. Actually, you know what's crazy is I sent a picture to my like coworkers from Red Bull at the time, like before I left. I was like, whoa, look at all these mosquito bites. And my friend Ryan had been in Thailand. He's like, that's not mosquito bites. I was like, fuck. And it was
Oh, shit.
bed bugs.
Wow.
Yeah, Misha got bed bugs in China.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's a good time.
I feel like
you
way
know?
less bad about it now.
Yeah. We had just picked up all these samples in China of all this new clothing that we were bringing back to shoot. And then she got bed bugs and had all the bags of clothing like on the bed and everything with. So she had to get it all washed,
Yeah.
and then it's all like, you know, it's losing all its color and it's fading and everything because we had to wash it like 6 times. And they were just
Did
samples.
you do it yourself
so
or you took it to someone else to do it?
the
They have to
hotel
like
did
heat
it.
it at this like crazy high temperature to kill them.
Well, maybe I
Jokes.
still have them. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. It's pain in
So,
the ass.
like we were saying before this podcast, like 3 pillars like business, biohacking, and bullshit. So I think we've done a little bullshit. We've done a little bit of business. I think the one of your biggest biohacks that you had said is that you just work out consistently. Is there anything outside of like regular exercise that you think like keeps you sane or like more productive or more creative or anything like that? Like something you do consistently that you think makes you a better business person?
Like sleep.
Sleep. You're a big sleeper.
Sleep's my mandatory. Actually, this is like new. In my first 2 years, I was like, I don't need sleep. 6 hours, I'm great. And then when I hired Casey, like her background was what she did. She worked with the TFC team and monitored their sleep and then the performance was the next day in the field.
Oh, cool.
So then she got my brain thinking about it. And I noticed that when I started sleeping, I was significantly more creative. So since then, this was exactly 2 years ago to this month, sleep is a non-negotiable. 7 hours, that's it. I'll like cancel my morning if I have to. And if I get less than that because I fuck up on my non-negotiable, my like creativity goes down significantly. So sleep is a massive one. Sleep, obviously, like.
Do you wear any devices to track your sleep?
No, I hate them.
No, you don't like it?
Do you?
I wear like an Oura ring, which isn't bad because it's small.
Yeah, and Oura Ring's amazing, but
Yeah.
I hate jewelry.
So do you like what's your room look like when you're sleeping? Do you have a routine when you go to bed?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Tell us about your nightly routine.
I'm like super curious about your Oura Ring. The only thing I'm like anti is the Fitbit. I actually had a client this morning. Do you wear a Fitbit? I wore it because we did a sleep challenge and we also did a 300 km, which is a walking challenge. But what the Fitbit does is it's not like a proper reader. So it's like telling me I was sleeping for like 4 hours a night and then it would get in my head. So my client this morning was like, I was in bed for 8 hours, but my Fitbit said it was only 6 hours of sleep. So then because her brain was saying only 6 hours, she's like, I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm like, but you were in bed for 8 hours. So like the mental component there, like it's not aligned. So I'm like, fuck that Fitbit, get rid of it. But I think the Oura is like really legit.
It's pretty legit. There's a good podcast with the founder on the Tim Ferriss show.
Cool.
And they talk about the Oura Ring. But I like it because it's small, so it's not intrusive. The battery lasts for weeks, so I don't have to worry about charging it.
I also think like the way that it reads, I don't know. I have to look into it. Anyway,
Yeah.
I like, what did you ask me besides that? Oh, my sleep routine.
Yeah, your bedtime.
My bedtime routine. So I have a bedtime alarm. It goes off at 9:45. That's when I like know it's time to like wind down. Let's say it's like really 10:15. Like, you know, girl things. I got my face stuff going on, my teeth stuff going on. I'm in bed and I usually go to bed with whether it be an audiobook or a podcast and I fall asleep listening to that. But a bedtime alarm was like lifetime changing. Do you do it?
No, like I mean, honestly, lately I've been pretty good with getting to sleep.
What time do you go to sleep?
I try to be in bed by 11.
Oh, that's good. I'm impressed.
Yeah, we honestly don't stay up. Like we're not super like stay up and work all night. I don't think either of us work very well like that.
We used to do it a little bit more. But
Yeah.
I think with just some of the information we've been consuming around sleep, it's the same thing with what you were
Okay,
saying
wait,
about your
share
friend.
this information with me.
Okay.
I mean, the one that really
Any
like,
information on sleep that you read, I want
Yeah,
to read.
you like
the
it.
biggest one for me that like, because I've been a bullish, I don't need sleep, I'll sleep when I'm dead kind of person since I had left school.
Yeah.
And to be completely honest, like I think that has significantly impacted my life for the better. Like I do. Like I think a lot of the good things that came in my life is like being like not needing to go to sleep and not, not conforming to the idea that you need sleep, because you don't need it. But like if you
100% need it.
No, but I'm saying like, I'm saying like I think there's a lot of people that if they've got a lot of stuff to do, they'll fall back and be like, oh, I'm going to take this. Whereas like, I don't know, like I don't think I would be where I am right now if I didn't sacrifice some sleep along the way. Like
I also wouldn't be where I was.
Right. Like I think I traded sleep for time. And like but I think if you want to be in it for the long game and you want longevity and you want to perform at your highest potential, I think that sleep is important. And the biggest one that really like kind of like ingrained in my head was there's like a study that like lack of sleep was one of the number one correlators to getting Alzheimer's. And I'm just like, if there's one disease I don't fucking want, it's Alzheimer's. Like I can't, like there's a lot of things I'll take over that. I think that like hearing that, whereas like if you were to tell me that like lack of sleep gave me cancer, I'd probably still push it. But like Alzheimer's, I'm like, nah, fuck that.
But also the cancer.
Yeah,
it's also like significantly higher.
Really, for lack of sleep.
Yeah, I don't know the stats, but for lack of sleep.
Yeah.
Because like your body's not recovering. We recover while we sleep, right? So if you're not giving the chance to recharge and recover overnight,
right,
that's what's happening, right?
Yeah. Well, there's a book called Why Do We Sleep by Matthew Walker. Have you read it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have the audiobook too, and I have the physical book.
Yeah. So I mean,
Did you read
like
it?
reading through it, I've listened to parts of it.
It's hard to read, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard, but so he did a
textbooky.
podcast with Joe Rogan, the author, and that one was really good too. He condensed it pretty well.
Great. I'm going to listen to that tonight.
There you go. Yeah, big shout out. We'll give Joe Rogan a little bit of more of an audience. I know he needs
He's
it.
getting Joe Rogan's getting a lot of shout outs on this podcast.
Oh,
yeah.
Joe's our godfather.
A little bit back and forth.
Yeah.
But
anything you want, Joe, I'll do it. Anything.
Okay, so one thing that he brought up that stuck with me was that they tested CEOs and business executives who got 7 to 8 hours sleep versus not enough sleep, and they questioned the people around them and their employees to evaluate what their disposition was like, and they found that there was a correlation between not enough sleep and people rating their bosses as annoyed or tired or not inspiring and things like that. And I was like, holy shit, like these business executives are thinking like, I don't need sleep, like I can push through it. Meanwhile, everybody around them's like doesn't want to be near them. They're too irritable. They're not inspiring. I'm like, I don't want that.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. Irritable.
Yeah, I don't want to be delusional. And I mean, just anecdotally, like tracking my sleep and putting effort into it, I can definitely see a difference in terms of, like you said, like the creativity aspect of things. And I don't really have lulls in my day like I used to. And I think a big part of that is the sleep.
Yeah.
I think it's the biggest biohack. I sleep usually between 18 to 20 hours. No, I'm kidding. I sleep usually 7 to 8.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Well, 7.
Well, I was noticing that I was only getting REM sleep after like 4:30, 5 o'clock. So I've been trying to go to bed earlier to try to get that REM sleep in earlier. A little bit, like kind of, but
it was hard in the summer because it's so bright out. But I think now that the winter's coming, we can go to bed earlier. Like now it's so easy to go to bed at 9:45. In the summer, it was like sunset was just happening.
Yeah, and then Zach and I were talking about that, how hard it is to wake up earlier in the winter because it's dark so long.
I get up and you just wake up and it's still dark and you're like, well, now what? Like it's all, like you have somewhere to go, and I'm honestly jealous that you have like an appointment to get to, because it gives you like a little bit of purpose like to get up. Where it's like when I get up and there's no sun, I'm just like,
what time are you waking up at now?
So right now we're during the sober October, we're just trying to wake up at 6, which I think is like pretty.
When I met Zach, he was waking up at 4 a.m. every day. Yeah. I've never felt like so much of under, like, I was like, what am I doing with my life? Zach's waking up at 4 and I'm waking up at 6.
I would say, like, honestly, like when I was in that too, it's like, I wouldn't say that I would recommend that. I would think for that, I was in a state where I was just trying to push myself so much, because like, if someone's waking up at 5, I'm going to wake up at 4. Like that's the kind of mindset I was in, where I was like, I was competing with everyone. Whereas like now I'm not really competing with anyone. I'm more than I want to win. I kind of want to be happy every day. I think that's where I'm at now. And getting up early does make me happy. Like the first 5 minutes of the morning, I'm not happy, but like if I get up, I'm going to be significantly happier.
I'm definitely happy right away. But I love what you just said. It's so nice.
Yeah. Anyway,
I find like days when I can sleep till 8 a.m. or I accidentally sleep to 8 a.m. I actually am like my whole day is thrown off.
Yeah.
I like being up early. I like feeling like I can maximize my entire day.
Also, I feel like when you're up early, you can put out before you take in, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
If you wake up early and your phone's already blown up, like that's not you're already defensive, Whereas like I think I would get up early and I clean. Like one thing I learned from like Shane that he said he'd like to do in the morning was like let your I think this is different from most people's advice, but he's like, let your apartment go during the day and then wake up in the morning and clean, because like you can get that little win and you get to like kind of do something small. And so like I think that's what I've really liked doing, like early on in the morning, get up, clean a little bit, get that little win before you start defending, like do a little bit of like super easy offense, like make your bed. Like I made my bed every day.
That's a mandatory for me too.
Mm-hmm. People that don't make their bed, I'm like, how do you get through your like life? Like if I miss making my bed, like, and sometimes I do miss it, like not like I'm not gonna make my bed, I can literally just run out the door and I miss it, and like I'm literally thrown off. Like I don't get that win. Like I love the win.
Made bed, cold shower, 2 things.
There
Are you
go.
full in cold shower all the time?
I'm a hot shower, and then you finish off with a cold shower before you get out.
So since I've moved here, I've been really good at. I've been cold shower every single morning. Step in
the whole time freezing.
The whole time freezing.
How long's your shower?
Super quick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Zach is the fastest shower I've ever met in my life. I don't even think the water goes fully through the pipes. I swear to God, it's like a 10-second shower. He's making up for your hour-long showers of using water.
Yeah, that was a bad one.
I used to take.
Normally it's like 10 minutes.
When I was a kid, I used to take long showers. I used to sit in the shower and just like let the water
That's
hit
what I was
me.
doing.
yeah. You had tons of revelations.
Just sitting under, just letting it pour on me.
Yeah.
Just need it.
Cool. So
Other
I feel like
biohacks?
we're.
So cold shower. I think cold showers is definitely like a little.
I also
bit of
am a
hack,
big journaler. Do you guys
Okay.
journal?
Yeah, I do. I've recently taken all my journaling electronic, which was a
Cool.
big move.
How do you
So-
do that?
So on my iPad, and then I use the note I use the app Microsoft OneNote, I think it's called. But it's pretty good because what I was finding was I wanted a personal journal, but then I'd have like business ideas and business revelations. So I should hire this person, or I need this done. And then it was hard to kind of segment the two things. So I was like, well, what if I use 2 different pen colors? And then when I look, I'll see business in red and personal in blue, but then I have to bring the pens everywhere with me, right? So there was all these kinds of things where I was like, okay, I want a category for, health, and I want a category for this and that and the other, and relationships. And I want to be able to find my notes on it quickly.
Yeah, for sure.
And I just couldn't do that with a physical journal. So I've been doing with an iPad, I use the iPen and everything on OneNote, and I'll have different categories. So I'll have like personal and business and health and notes about, things happening in the day, but then I can click on it, and then I can see specific notes I've taken in that. And then with the app, I can change the color of the page, I can change the color of the pen I'm doing, I can highlight all with that.
Okay, I need to
So
check this out.
yeah, it offers a lot of, functionality that a physical journal might not have. I'd say like the only downside is it is a little bit different in terms of touch and feel writing on a physical piece of paper. But this one you can hold the pen, and no matter how much pressure you put down, it still writes with the same density. So your hand doesn't get sore.
Yeah.
Because you can just hold it lightly. And
Cool. I've never seen this.
Yeah.
Is this
So
like a daily thing you do every morning?
I used to do it daily, and then I started falling off a little bit, and then every time I picked up my journal, I'd have empty spaces for days, and I would start feeling bad about it.
Oh, yeah.
So I recently switched it to, instead of organizing things by the date, I organized things by what I did that day. So if I took a trip to Bali, I'd have like a trip to Bali 2019 note, and then I'd write in that. So I wouldn't, because I was kind of looking at my journal being like, oh, I didn't write in it yesterday, I feel bad about it. I didn't want that feeling. So I started organizing it by like events and things like that. So yeah, I do it electronically.
Do you journal?
I'm off and on. Like one thing I always journal when I'm traveling, like very religiously. When I'm at home, like I definitely see the value in it. It's just one of those things that falls off. Like in terms of like all the things I do pile on, it is the one thing that it probably falls off first in terms of like my personal development type stuff. I would like to get to a point where I am, because I do get to like I love that process of getting stuff out of my head,
Getting
because
out of your
so
head.
much of my day is just like shit bouncing off in my head. And yeah, and I love looking back. Like this is actually a really, like one I have in front of me is like a really old notebook, and I love looking back at it.
That's the best part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like recently I showed one to Shane that was like, it was a list that I had made when I was living at like my first apartment in Toronto, and like it was like, and the title was like, what do you want? And I'd listed stuff, and like almost all of it was like has happened in the last like 4 months, and it was so cool. And I had found this, and one of the things in this journal was like live at the harbor.
Journal.
Yeah, it was it was live
Like
at
a pocketbook.
one of the notes was live at the harbor front, and I had found this, and the reason why I found it was because I found it in the move, and it was so cool just like opening that and being like, fuck yeah. So I love looking back, and so that's the reason I really, really want to become more diligent with the journaling, but
I set these things called my daily non-negotiables. So that's part of my journaling. So when I wake up in the morning, you have this like crazy freaking to-do list, which is like never ending. But I set like 3 to 5 things that no matter what happens in that day, they will get done.
Yeah.
And I feel like since I started setting those, it's normally 3 because that's like I need to achieve it. Those are my 3 non-negotiables that I'll hit. And then when I also will write down one thing I overcame the day before.
that's cool. I like that. That's like a good momentum.
Can you give us an example?
Yeah. So yesterday, I had to give feedback to one of my coaches in terms of like other feedback I was given about her on the gym floor, and I had to deliver it to her.
That's a good example.
Yeah. I think the hardest part of my job is I've never even been really managed by anyone, and now I'm managing a team of 5 girls. So, and 5 girls, highlighting girls. So that's like usually when I'm reflecting the day before, it's like overcoming a lot of stuff around there.
I heard this quote once from a friend of mine that's a business owner, kind of later on. He's kind of later on in his business career now. And he said that the quality of your life is proportional to the amount of hard conversations you've had.
I have a lot of hard conversations. Cool.
Right? Yeah. And I feel like as an entrepreneur, you're like, as the last line of defense for your business, a lot of that is hard conversations you have to have with people.
Right now with my mentor, I'm working on, it was amazing. It was like life-changing last week. We went through feedback training. So they taught us there's 3 phases of negative triggers that happen when you receive feedback. So they presented them to us. We had to choose which one we like tend to go towards. And then we also practice breaking down. There's 5 steps on how to deliver feedback. So we practiced that, and then I went and implemented it and practiced with my team as well. And it's like already changed my life. Jamaica, I gave him feedback. My fiance, I gave him feedback the other day, and he went immediate into defense mode. And that's like the number 1 trigger.
Right.
He's like, crazy yelling at me. I was like, all right, we got to stop. I have to teach you how to receive feedback.
Oh, that would make me so mad.
Just even more pissed.
So you brought it to me. I think this is a good like kind of talking about both Shane and I are. Jameek's fucking awesome. He's so great. Both Shane and I are single. Both entrepreneurs.
Where is this going?
So no, what?
And we're gonna break you and Jameek up.
No.
You want
So
them?
you have to be like us.
What's the? Obviously, you work a lot, right? Like, what's the? What are the little hacks in terms of like making a relationship work when you're like super? Like, is it just find someone as great as Jameek? Is that the answer? Because like he cooks for you, all this kind of stuff. Like, is there any tips that you found? Obviously, it was probably a learning process, right? Of like making that kind of work. So like, you know, being someone that's super busy and always piling more stuff onto their plate. And when you pile something onto your plate, you got to take something off. And sometimes that's going to be relationships, right? So like, have you come across any like little tips or tricks or things that you implement like constantly?
I think that a big part of like, I've kind of like made my entrepreneurship experience like also like part of his experience. So I really like, I love his input, and like I let him be a part of everything as I do it, so that he's like a very understanding when it comes to what I'm doing. I guess if I kind of just like did my thing and left him out, he wouldn't really understand what's going on, I guess. So like integrating him into the things that I'm doing was a huge one. But also like I have non-negotiable time where I set aside to spend with Jameek. We go to bed every night together. That's like another, I guess that's like a ritual. In terms of the cooking, there's a secret. You trick them into liking to cook. Jameek didn't like cooking.
Really?
Jameek didn't even ever cook. What I would just do is I would like get him excited about cooking. Like, oh, there's like this new recipe or new thing that I would half the time, like this was like a year ago probably, I would buy the ingredients and leave them on the counter and then amp up the experience. And then he'd get so pumped about it and would go cook. And now he just loves cooking.
Yeah, now Jameek's a great cook.
He's
cooking all the time.
Cook.
I would have thought
But
he
I,
would have
like,
been cooking for years.
Definitely tricked him into liking to cook. This was like a
awesome.
process.
I should write a
That's
book just
awesome.
on that.
100%. But no, Jameeka's great.
Awesome. Cool.
I think that's it.
I think you gotta get going, right? Where are you headed?
I'm heading to the Hamilton football game.
Sweet.
They're playing Eskimos, and then Jameek's best friend plays in the team.
Sweet.
Hamilton, and I'm also taking the GO train for the first time in my life.
Whoa.
Oh, okay. There's another
You
good
just you just live the luxury experience of never having to take the GO train?
Do you take the GO train?
Oh yeah, often.
Yeah.
Where?
I
And I have
love
to go
the
back to
GO
Brantford.
train.
You have a motorcycle.
There's winters.
He brings it on the train. No,
Are you going with a motorcycle?
Yeah.
Do you have a vehicle?
no, I ride on the back.
They're
No, I
probably
don't ride
not
on the
kidding is the
back.
best part. Yeah, okay, this is my first GO train experience.
Okay.
How far is Hamilton? An hour?
You're gonna be on there for about an hour.
Okay, I can.
Are you going at 5?
I'm going whenever we're done chatting.
Oh, good
you're
fucking
gonna be at
luck.
5 or 6. You're gonna have a horrible time.
No,
It's gonna
you
be
won't.
packed.
You just have to. You
I
just
don't
have
ever
to
have a bad
attract a
time.
good time on the GO
Yeah,
train.
I always have a good time.
Sort of, you should have a class on the GO train.
I'm probably like listen to a podcast.
That's what that's a go.
Yeah.
That's
Or
a
like
GO train.
we have a book club happening on Tuesday night, and don't tell my community. I'm just like not even halfway through the book.
Okay, let's end it with 3 book recommendations.
Oh, Culture Code, Traction. I haven't read it yet, but I'm gonna read it next. I should actually have read
You
it.
can't recommend a book you
Yeah.
haven't read yet.
Um,
Traction, I just started.
Traction
Good one so
will,
far.
like changed my entire life.
Yeah.
So did Culture Code. The Alchemist.
Yeah.
Yeah,
good
it's
one.
a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Awesome.
haven't read it in a while, but I've read it like 4 times.
That's actually been
Is that
recommended.
how you pronounce it?
The Alchemist.
Alchemist?
Alchemist.
Yeah.
That was like life changing too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That
a
one's
great
been
book.
recommended before,
But-
actually, on this podcast.
By.
I think it was Josh.
Yeah?
Josh
It's a good
Gonzalez.
one.
Yeah.
All right.
Good book.
Traction is like
Okay, I think it's a
Good
good spot to end it off.
Cool.
Thanks
Yeah.
for coming on. Oh wait, no, you know what? We're still new at this. You have to plug all your stuff. Where
cool.
can people find you? Where can people figure out what you do and all that kind of stuff?
You can find me on Instagram is my main platform. Cassie Day, Dayy. 1 Y and 2 Y were both gone, so I had to take 3. And then from there, you can find everything's in my bio. There's our
Okay.
website, alldayfit.com, our social media, alldayfit.co, all that good stuff.
And let's be real, I think Cassie Day fits your personality a lot more than Cassie Day.
Yeah, it was
That's
my
what I should say.
Right on.
Thanks for
Well,
having me, guys.
Yeah, thanks for
Well,
coming
thanks for
on. That
coming
was a
on.
lot
That
of
was
fun. I
awesome.
think people are going to get some value out of that. And you're welcome back anytime.
Definitely it.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.